Hello there, I'm Artistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to some more of my speed build here with this huge, ginormous home. That if you missed the first part of it, there is going to be multiple parts. I actually explain a little bit, so in the first part, why I'm doing it in multiple parts, I'll have like a refresher here in a moment. But if you haven't watched the first part, I'd highly suggest watch the first part, because I explain why I'm creating this house and why I'm splitting it up into parts like I am. And, you know, sort of going through the basics of this whole entire build. So, in a little bit more detail anyway, than I will be going on for most of the other videos. But as a refresher, I am building this ginormous house, and I am making it into parts. One, so that I can actually show basically every part of the build, except for like the dead zones, the part where I'm scrolling for extremely long periods of time. There should be a link down in the description to the first episode so that you can go and click on it there and go and catch it out and figure out what this build is like in detail all about. There also will be the playlist for this particular build as well as my overall build playlist, so if you want to see builds that I've done previously in the past, that is also down in the description below as well. But now let's continue on with this build. So in this particular one, it will be pretty much, well, it is actually all outside. I think a little bit of the outside, like decorating wise, is going to be a little bit in the beginning of the next one as well. Because I am going very detailed with this build. I'm also, of course, like I mentioned in the first one, using CC because I wanted to spend like a whole lot of time. I really wanted to get details into it. And because I am going to be making rooms for characters that I'm making in the Create a Sim series that might have already started by the time you're seeing this video. Probably should have already started. I will also leave a link in the description below to that Create a Sim playlist so that you can go check that out as well. But I really wanted to bring out the people's personalities and all that in the rooms so that I can like have a lot of fun with it, and I knew I could do a lot more of it if I actually had CC evolved as well. I will still be putting this house on the gallery, but again, it will have CC, so that's something just have to keep in mind if you want to download this build. Obviously, I'm using bb.moveobjects. I always do, so that's something also. Anytime you download any of my builds, I do say it in the description of them on the gallery, but I am always using bb.moveobjects. So always keep that in mind, because sometimes in the past I've had it to where if I place the house in like the Manage World sections, like the house or the restaurant or whatever it is, the community lot, and I'm not like in the physical lot itself, even though I have a cheat that enables bb.moveobjects on always through MCC, it sometimes doesn't calculate the fact that bb.moveobjects is supposed to be working. Make sure you go into the lot and you have bb.moveobjects on, and that's not just for my builds, that's for anyone who tells you that they use MoveObjects. Maybe that's a thing that doesn't occur anymore. I personally just like to be careful anyway, so I make sure I always go into the lot and don't just place it from the Manage World screen. As for the CC that I'm placing in this, I don't know ahead of time what CC I'm going to use. So, I know a lot of people out there, especially when it comes to Create a Sims, I don't know if I notice it as much with builds. I notice it with room builds, but like full-on house builds, I don't know if I've actually noticed people do that. But I will definitely try to answer any questions about CC, but I can't make a CC list. There is absolutely no way. I know in some ways that's annoying, and I apologize, but the fact that I have gathered CC from like over years at this point, and I only get rid of it if I'm really tired of it, or if it's actually like completely bugged and doesn't work anymore and there's like no way to fix it. I've had some of the CC, though granted a lot of my older CC at this point has been slowly rooted out anyway, but there is still some that's pretty old. But for the most part, a lot of my CC, I have a pretty good idea where I get it from, so if you ever see any particular item or items that I use in my builds when I do them, or the Create a Sims, feel free to chat down in the comments below and be like, hey, where's this table from 6.15 in the video, and I will definitely try my best to either find the link for you, or at least tell you where I know I got it from, or have a good idea where I got it from. off the top of my head, most of my stuff comes from the Sims resource, or I've looked around on Tumblr for a few of it, and also SimsDom. I know that sometimes SimsDom people look at it weird, but or think about it strangely, but it sends you, if it's not someone who locally puts it on that site, they send you to the other locations, so at least they do now. But yeah, so those are the main places that I use them. I do have all those linked down in the description, so if you want to just go and click on those and have a little look-see for yourself, just to see if you can come across some CC that you like, even if it's not the ones that I'm particularly using. But yeah, again, feel free to ask. Now, until we get on the inside, I don't know exactly how much CC I actually use. I do use a lot of items, like, until I get to the furniture, I should say. But as far as, like, a lot of this outside stuff that I'm currently doing, a lot of it comes from activating the live edit objects cheat. So it's what? No, it's not // It's bb.show live edit objects. You have to have bb.show hidden objects on beforehand, and it enables the debug menu. That's a thing that they allowed for us to get into quite a bit ago, but there's always new people coming to Sims, and if at some point someone new comes across it and they don't know it, definitely want to let people be aware of it, just in case there's people out there that still don't know or they forget how to get to it, because for the longest time I kept forgetting some of the cheats. I actually have some of the cheats that I commonly use wrote on a little marker board behind my webcam, funny enough, which it's mainly stuff to deal with actually building stuff, like bb.enable free build, and also the bb ignore gameplay unlock sentiment. That's a long one. I always hate typing that one. That one basically unlocks if you have a house and you've moved a sim into it already, and that sim has not completed basically every career and stuff like that. There are certain items that are career locked, or like certain achievements or aspirations, or I don't know if any of them are locked by aspiration, but you get the point. You have to complete things and do things to unlock those objects. That cheat allows those objects to be used. Now, if you're just going into a lot to build without having a sim there, so there's no sim living on that lot and you're just building, you don't have to use that. So I don't use that cheat too often, but there are a few times that I move a sim in, or I'm trying to do like a item, like a budget of how much money I can spend, so like, you know, I'll unuse it in those cases or whatever, but I don't use it too often, but it's up there because there's no way that I would remember how to spell that whole entire thing for when I do use it, and I've used it enough that I don't want to look it up every single time. But yeah, a lot of the objects that I use at first are from the debug menu, but I do eventually start getting some furniture pieces and stuff like that that are CC. I am planning on actually using this house for a few little episodes of playing around, and I might even play this household even afterwards just for fun, depending on how things go. Also, if people like it enough, maybe the series will go on longer than just 3 to 5 episodes, because I was only going to do like 3 to 5 depending and such. But as a recap, I am creating my D&D characters as Sims, and I've already actually edited, by the time I'm doing this video, I've already created one of them. I am in the process of about ready to create the second one. I'm probably going to do it after this voiceover. So I'm looking forward to doing that today, because I love Create a Sim. And like in between Create a Sim series, I do take a small break from Create a Sim. But I absolutely love Create a Sim, so I'm excited to get back into it, and I'm glad that I have a new series to start recording for. But that series should already be up by the time that this is, because I have my build spread out a little bit, like, far enough apart right now, so by the time you're seeing this, Elder Scrolls cast should be done, and the D&D characters cast should be up. So go check that out. I will leave the link in the description below to that playlist, like I was saying. But basically, I am going to put them in this house, and I am going to basically almost more of observe in a way. and see how they act. I am going to be using a mod that allows them to have more traits. There have been 2 updates in the month of May. I actually have, every time I go to load Sims, I disconnect my internet and then reconnect it after Sims is loaded enough so that it doesn't prompt me to update it. I didn't want to update it because I do have CC and I have mods and stuff, and knowing, the thing is with CC creators and modders, especially the ones who make mods, because a lot of CC objects and Create a Sim stuff actually can last quite a few updates. Like I said, I have some stuff that is from years ago, and that's like objects and Create a Sims stuff, because a lot of times that stuff will be fine for the most part until they do something that affects a particular genre. At one point, the doors were messed up, the counters were messed up, the beds were messed up because of pets and stuff. Windows were messed up when the doors were messed up. Recently, the chairs got messed up. I actually don't fully know why the chairs got messed up, now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, the chairs recently got messed up. But usually, Sims... Oh, what is it? Sims 4 up... What is it? Hold on. Sims 4 Studio. I don't know why I forgot that. But anyway, Sims 4 Studio usually has some batch fixes. Sometimes it takes them a while, but a lot of these CC creators and modders, they do amazing work, and I understand that when there's a lot of updates, it's really hard for them to make sure stuff is constantly working. Especially the mods that are like MCC and Slice of Life and the UI cheats and stuff like that. Those ones usually need to be updated almost every single update. Sometimes they are fine, but usually those ones that affect, like, programming and a lot of that other stuff going on in the game, and not just some things that are look-wise, or just a few objects that do stuff, but let the game, like, process a lot of stuff, those mods get broken constantly. And, the people making those mods, they are putting a lot of effort in for those mods to work. So I never want to try to be someone who wants them to be rushed. They're doing a lot of amazing stuff and amazing work as it is, so I try to wait. So that's why I always make sure my game does not update, and I give time for the modders to fix the updates. And, now that we're having updates more often, I know it's probably even more stressful for them. And when it was once a month, it was still fine. Like, I only had to wait, like, a week, if even that, to update some of the stuff. But since I knew that we were getting 2 updates this month, and now we're getting a game pack, which I am pretty excited for myself, and I really am looking forward to this newest update, which is actually already live at this point of me doing the voiceover. But because there was 2 updates, I just decided to keep my Sims disconnected from the internet. I know it's going to be annoying when I go to update everything again, but I want to give a chance for the mods to get fully updated for the 2 updates and the game pack, because I really do want the game pack. I want it quite a bit, because I think that the designer career looks like it'd be loads of fun. I am going to let some people give it a try first. I am concerned with the likes and the dislikes, since they're affecting, like, I think furniture and stuff. I don't know, I haven't actually watched anyone, because I do know the update's live, but I've been busy, so I haven't watched anyone give, like, an overhaul of the update. So I don't know if the furniture portion of the likes and dislikes is part of the free update, or if it's coming with the game pack. I'm not really sure. But I feel like that part could potentially break CC, but at the same time, I really thought the whole skin update was going to break a lot of my skin CC, but actually, I don't even think any of it broke. If it did, I haven't realized it to this day yet, so I'm hopeful that the furniture will be fine. I don't know what I'm gonna do if most of the furniture is not, because I'm in the process of building this house. This house, which is gonna be using a bunch of CC. I've already got a lot of CC in it at this point in the state that it's in. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll end up having my game not updated for quite a long time until I can either replace some furniture or something. I don't know. I have to see. I'm really hoping that it doesn't break most of the furniture, or CC furniture just won't count towards any of the likes or dislikes. I think in some ways the Sims team is getting better about a lot of these updates, and they are considering CC developer, like CC makers and modders, which is nice. It is a nice thing that, stuff like that is potentially being taken into consideration, considering I would say a big majority of people who play Sims, no matter whether it's Maxis Match or Alpha CC, or if it's just like CC or mods or whatever, a big majority of people have something like that attached to their game. So I think it's nice that, if they do start considering those things a little bit more when making some of this stuff, and it does seem like they are to some degree, but I may be speaking too soon. I may be too hopeful that the furniture is not going to break. If it's only certain furniture, and if it's a way a batch fix could be made for it, that would be great. That would be wonderful. So a lot of times I like to wait for those things to see if something does break, let's hope a batch fix is coming. But I do know that batch fixes can take a while. So with all that being said, I'm going to leave my game updated until I'll watch some other people. I know some people that stream and also record episodes that does use CC, especially some of the CC similar to mine. And usually they actually give their input regarding the new stuff with CC. So I'm going to see how their stuff goes with all this and then move on to potentially updating my game myself. Just need to make sure that not everything is going to absolutely break. But anyway. Okay, now when it comes to the whole decoration process of this house, not just the outside, I had to take into consideration what I am wanting to use this house for and the fact that so many Sims were going to be in this house. So the thing with what I'm going to be sort of doing in the potential, like the series that I plan to do, well, I wouldn't even go to say series. I feel like series, you have to have like more than like 5 episodes. I think you have to get close to 10. And me personally, they have like a full-on series. Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking a little bit too. But I'm only planning on doing like 3 or 5 episodes, unless people like it a whole lot and such. But the thing is, there's going to be a lot of Sims living in this house, and there's a potential chance that there might be Sims that, depending on how I decide to do it, I'm still sort of setting up the plans. Since they are going to be my D&D characters brought into Sims, I am going to be using a dice in some sort of way, or a few different ways. One of the main ways I'm thinking is every Sims morning, I roll a dice for each of the characters, and depending on what roll they get, because, like in D&D, especially the D20 dice, Nat 1 is extremely bad, Nat 20 is extremely good, and then, the closer to 20 or the closer to 1, the worse or better it gets. So, depending on their role, I was thinking of locking off certain sections of the house, or, they couldn't do certain things if, like, there was going to be, like, a group trip or whatever, because I was thinking maybe every end of the week, maybe they go out and have a group trip, but if they had such a low roll that morning, like maybe a Nat 1, they get stuck at the house. Still sort of working on those details, so they might meet some people, maybe we'll have people come over, maybe they'll actually form relationships and stuff like that with maybe people within the house, maybe people outside of the house. I'm hoping a lot of this just sort of happens naturally or organically. So I'm not going to really try to influence any relationships type things. I'm more of just going to be a observer that sort of affects potentially how their mood is, because, if they're trapped away from certain stuff, they may not have a lot of fun. So their fun need may be low or whatever, but at certain times. But other than that, I'm more of going to be an observer. So just to see how it's going to be. The fact that there's so many Sims, I feel like enough stuff's going to happen that I can legit do like a 3 to 5 part little mini series, I guess, where it would be entertaining enough. Depending, who knows, I may go and record it and then decide that it's not interesting enough to do, but we'll just see how that goes. I'm hoping, considering how many Sims are going to be in this house at one time, that it will definitely be quite intriguing, and if the likes and the dislikes, don't mess up my game too much, that will help me actually influence the Sims creation a little bit more. I've had to half record this voiceover, so I don't remember if I brought it up, because one, I could have brought it up and went completely into it, or brought it up and only got distracted by something else I was saying, or I didn't bring it up at all and I just have a partial memory, because I partially feel like I did. But I'm going to be using a mod that allows for more traits. I'm trying to do things to give them individual personalities that relates back to their story as a D&D character, and, like, you know, their classes and things like that. And I'm actually going to give, like, slightly alter their skills based off of those things as well before they get put into this house. Well, technically, to modify their skills, I probably will have to put them in the house and then edit their skills there. But before I record it, I'm going to do all this stuff. So the likes and dislikes thing coming into play might actually really help that a whole lot more and make it even more interesting, if as long as everything works good in my game and nothing is like messing up or interfering with each other after these updates and the new game pack. So yeah, I'm actually really hoping that that goes well, because that would go play even more into like the whole thing that I'm going to do with this. But getting to the point that I was talking about, with it being so many Sims that are going to be going into this house, I have to think about seating and stuff like that constantly. Now, obviously, if I do the whole roll the dice thing, certain rooms get locked off, let's just say most of the Sims end up not being locked out of most of the spots. So, like, you know, I probably, like, will make a list of, like, from better to worst, like, you know, outside gets locked off at, like, if you roll below a 5 or something like that. Or the gym gets locked off if you roll below a 10. Stuff like that, like, somewhere. But if most of the Sims don't get locked out of most of the places, there's a chance that a lot of the Sims could be in the same spot at the same time. And if they end up making friends outside of the household and those friends come to visit them or whatever, that's going to be additional Sims here at this house. So I was constantly thinking about seating, trying to sneak in seating here and there. Outside, there's not like an extreme amount of room outside when you really think about it, considering what was left after I built the house wasn't a whole lot of yard, and I had to use what I had, basically the best I could, to create a fun, fanciful, sort of looking like outside fantasy meets modern sort of feel, and add a bunch of seating. So, like, I was trying to sneak in seating all over the place, put little tiny ottomans, put a bench here and there, throw a log chair, have, like, a little private seating area, have swings hanging off the balconies, so on and so forth. I was trying to make sure that there was seating everywhere that I could potentially put it without it looking like too much. So trying to put that much furniture and still have it looking sort of decent was a little complicating, but honestly, I love how this little outside area looks. The combination of using CC items and debug items and, like, just getting to play around and experiment completely with everything that I have for my game, and not just restricted to certain packs or restricted to just Maxis stuff, or just, like, normal gameplay. Like, I'm still not done with this house, obviously, but I have been having so much fun building this house and not worrying about a time restraint or whatever and such has been really nice. Now, I will, after this build, go back to my normal builds. I'm not saying that once I go back to my normal builds, I won't try to focus on little details here and there. It's just sometimes with those builds, depending on how quickly I'm trying to get them out, I can overlook some details in some rooms here and there. But the whole point of this one is every single room that I have, I am focusing on details. Like, I'm not moving past a room, or even, like, the outside, like, just talking about the outside, even with that, I'm not moving past it without, like, you know, checking. I'm putting little stuff everywhere. Decorations, flowers, potted plants, seating arrangements, interesting lighting, different type of food stuff, like, all this different things. I'm just trying different stuff that I haven't done before and just having fun with it, not worrying about the time. So it's been really, really nice, but not having to worry about that time and just, you know, taking the time to look through all the items, whether it's CC or not, and just have fun decorating and have fun, like, setting it up. And, like, I'm looking forward to creating these characters. I've already started creating them. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens once I put them in this household. I hope that you are too. I hope you're liking this build so far. I know that this build might be sort of to some people because it's going to be split into so many parts, but I really hope that actually people enjoy it as much as I enjoyed building it, and look forward to seeing this build in action. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end here, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, please hit that lovely like button and subscribe if you're not already so that you can see this build be fully built and then eventually played in by my D&D characters as Sims. So, yeah, thank you again for watching. It does mean a lot to me. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye-bye!